Hey everyone, and welcome back to Pinned on Places and to our walking tour series. We are carrying on our journey around North Wales, not far from Flint Castle, as you were able to watch in our previous video. We are in Holywell, exploring BASINGWERK Abbey. Nestled inside Greenfield Valley Heritage Park, it's here that you can wander 70 acres of woodland and 2,000 years of history with ancient monuments, historic factories and lakes at every turn. It was once part of a network of Cistercian settlements that dotted around Wales, founded in 1131 by the 4th Earl of Chester, Ranulph de Gernan, and then extensively altered in the 13th century. Although it is a ruin, it still gives us a great insight into the lives of the monks who once called BASINGWERK home. It is a significant and religious site, and interestingly, it's the start point for the North Wales Pilgrim's Way. If you weren't sure what this is, it's a long-distance hiking and walking trail that stretches over 140 miles all the way around to Bardsey Island. In the 14th century, new Gothic arcades of the cloisters were created, and the buildings on the south-east side were enlarged. This southern end of the East Range was rebuilt again at the end of the Middle Ages. Most likely it was used for economic purposes, and at the end of the 15th century, the abbey was also roofed with lead and decorated with glass windows, and new rooms were built for guests on the south-east side. During the Middle Ages, a thriving economic and artistic community developed around the abbey, and it became home to many Welsh poets. During the 15th century and into the next, Thomas Pennant, an abbot of BASINGWERK, who was a noted patron of poets. He also restored the buildings after a long period of neglect, but then the abbey was dissolved in the 1530s on the order of King Henry VIII. The monks were self-sufficient and supported themselves using the land. The abbey made money by hosting many pilgrims. They often assisted the people of Holywell, whether they were poor or wealthy, with offers of hospital facilities, food and comfort. The fast-flowing Holywell stream provided the abbey with a good water supply. This meant commercial opportunities, and the Cistercians became the first people to use the stream water to run the first industries here, such as cloth-making mills and flour mills. Later, in the 14th century, the monks grew barley and they had a brewing industry. I think the most impressive surviving room is the monks' dining hall. It has beautiful and large lancet windows and a pulpit from where readings were given during the meals. and also a serving hatch that connects it to the kitchen next door. Valuable items were removed. Some of the lead went to Holt Castle near Wrexham, and some all the way to Dublin Castle. It's thought that the stained glass from the abbey is still visible at a nearby parish church. The oldest part of the abbey is the 12th century chapter house, with remains of the benches where the monks sat for daily readings. Next to this is the parlour, the only place where the usually silent monks were allowed to speak. The first to be built was the church and the eastern part of the monastery buildings. The temple was about 50 metres long, which placed it amongst the smallest Cistercian churches in Wales. In the mid-13th century, a refectory was built in the south wing, located on the north-south axis. It's projecting south beyond the outline of the monastery buildings. This was a typical feature of Cistercian monasteries in Wales, as well as neighbouring with the kitchen on the west side. The best thing about visiting the abbey is all the small things that you don't particularly notice until you take the time to explore here. The outline of the crucifix church is spectacular, with the columns heading all the way down, and the medieval drainage system you can see too. It's worth taking the time around every corner and to look around these extensive ruins. So if you've enjoyed watching us here today at BASINGWERK Abbey, be sure to let us know with a thumbs up or consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And make sure to click that notification bell so you can know exactly when a new video comes up. Thank you always for your ongoing support. Till next time.